6 months after she took her own life, Prince Andrew's accuser, Virginia Giuffre's posthumous memoir has been released today. In it, she accuses the royal of being entitled, writing, "He believed having sex with me was his birthright." And while the prince has always denied any wrongdoing, her book, Nobody's Girl, puts him under further scrutiny. Well, joining us now to share his views on the latest scandals is royal author Andrew Lownie, who wrote an unauthorised biography about the prince. Welcome to Andrew. Well, Virginia Giuffre used the word entitled, and funnily enough, here's your book, which was published back in August, wasn't it, first of all, entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York. This must be one of those situations where you write a book and you can't actually keep up with everything that keeps coming out.
I'm finding it difficult. I'm revising the book, and there'll be a big acknowledgement to the palace for their help in promoting it. Yeah, no, it is an extraordinary. And I think, actually, having worked in publishing, I think one of the exciting things is it shows not my book, but Virginia Giuffre's own book has actually been able to shift the dial. We're suddenly getting some sort of accountability from these elites. And when the book came out, I was dismissed as a gossip monger, not a serious person. And it's very satisfying to see that many of the things that I wasn't able to put in the book, legal reasons they were taken out, are now coming out about both Sarah Ferguson and Andrew.
I mean, I've heard you say, because to us we're sort of like, oh my God, it couldn't possibly be any worse than this. I've heard you say this is the tip of the iceberg.
Yes, I'm sure it's the tip. I mean, all the things... I mean, I spent 4 years researching this book, but, I mean, even so, it's only the testimony of the people I found, and I only had 300 people out of 3,000 people that I identified and approached. And we have clearly some legal depositions, we have some cuts. But I just know that there's a lot more, just the little snippets I get of other activities that they've been up to. And there was a lot of stuff that was taken out of the book for legal reasons, which can come back. So I think there's a lot more still to come.
I mean, he's relinquished his titles, but Virginia Giuffre's family are sort of saying that he should be no longer thought of as a prince. What do you think about that?
Yes, this is just window dressing. This is, I'm afraid, the standard response. You know, this will quieten things down. The news agenda will move on. We're going through the motions. But I don't think anyone buys the story. And I think what was so fascinating over the weekend is to see they thought they'd nailed this, and then suddenly, I think through public pressure, actually, I think public opinion is very much on the side of, you know, we need the full story out. So things have changed. So I think I'm getting the feeling that they may well allow this parliamentary time for him to lose his titles. You know, I think he will leave Royal Lodge. I mean, he says he's an honourable man and he's putting the country and the monarchy first. Well, if that's the case, he should vacate Royal Lodge, because I think the optics of someone like that in that house are terrible.
But playing devil's advocate, he is saying, I don't know if this is true, that he's spent millions on refurbishing the house and that part of the deal was that was ostensibly the rent.
Yes,
and the agreement.
That is the deal. There is an ironclad lease, actually. So, I mean, legally he can't be evicted, which is why I said it has to be a voluntary action. But I think, you know, the deal itself was pretty secretive. I mean, this is Crown Estate property. It was done in a secret deal. There was no other... It should have been offered to the wider market. A lot of the stuff has been covered up in terms of what the deal was. We've now got the unredacted lease, finally, and he's not paying anything, really, beyond these
But he's also never been found... I mean, I'm not standing up for him at all, but he's never been found guilty of... And, I mean, this is the court of public opinion, very much so. You talk a lot about how it's the finances that'll be the undoing and that is the issue. And it's not just to do with things like whether he should have his house taken away from him and so on.
Yes, the Epstein allegations have kind of diverted us from, I think, the bigger problem, which is this financial corruption with the senior royal, but actually, I would say, with the connivance of the institution itself. But, you know, there's plenty of evidence in my book and in the press that has come forward to refute, I mean, his denials. And the fact is that he's never cooperated with any of either the victims' lawyers, the law enforcement agencies, or indeed he ran up to Balmoral when his first grandchild was born to hide from getting the summons. These are not the marks of an innocent man. And now we have this testimony with the emails showing he was trying to smear Giuffre and using a taxpayer-funded official to do so. I mean, I found evidence of the same thing just after the picture emerged. He was contacting PR agencies to work on trying to discredit her.
Do you think he's going to end up in court for that?
Yes, I think there are grounds for him to be investigated, charged, and I think convicted on a whole series of counts. I mean, 20 years ago, the National Crime Agency wanted to look into him because of what he was doing as a special trade envoy. I mean, I have stories which were taken out of the book about $5 million bribes being paid to him, reported to the Queen's private secretary. Allegedly. Sorry, I should say.
Because they were taken out of the book for good reason.
Sorry, I must forget of the lawyers. But there are there is a lot of evidence against him, which I think will emerge, and I think are grounds for...
I mean, at the minute, the Met are looking into investigating him, aren't they? We haven't even got that far yet, but if they did start to investigate him, it would be on the basis of aiding and abetting a police officer to...
Well, there are a whole series of things.
Unlawfully look into someone.
There's misconduct in public office, which would be some of the things to do with his time as a special trade envoy. And I think the extraordinary thing is the files on his time there, which should be in the National Archives, are still closed. All my attempts over the last 4 years to get them released under FOI have been frustrated with actually straight lies or denials.
You sound very passionate about it. I mean, why do you take it very personally? Why did you want to write the book?
Well, it's a third of a trilogy of books on royal marriages, and this was the first was on Mountbattens, the open marriage there, a very successful one. I don't know if that's a lesson for us all. The second on the great love affair of the 20th century, the Duke of Windsor, and this was the happiest divorced couple ever. So looking at the prism through the two of them through the prism of the marriage, I thought gave us an opportunity to look at wider things. But it is true. I do feel passionate about this. This is part of actually 20 years of writing about cover-ups by the establishment. I started off writing about the intelligence world and then found actually the royal world was even more secretive than the intelligence world. So I do feel vindicated because I do feel that our history has been curated, our records have been destroyed, rich and powerful people are shaping the narrative. And actually, I think the wonderful thing is here is one person from beyond the grave who is actually, as I say, shifting the dial and changing public perceptions on this. And now, all the things I've been calling for, so proper scrutiny of the royals by Parliament, the Royal Register, the removal of the exemption from the Freedom of Information Act, all these things I think people are now beginning to talk about, and I'm not seen as some lewd...
And what about Fergie? What do you think is next for her?
Well, you know, I think it's rather sad because I like her. I've met her. She's actually grew up with my wife. My mother-in-law and her mother were at school together. I actually had a meeting with her on the day that he settled with Giuffre to see if she would cooperate, not because it would be authorised, but because I wanted her to be given a fair shot of explaining herself. She decided not to do that. She actually told all her friends not to talk to me. She actually wrote letters to the publishers saying that they were watching them very carefully. I was told that my social media would be monitored. And I even would go to interviews and actually find that they were being texted not to talk to me. So I think it's sad for her because, you know, she was a very popular member. She did a lot of great work for charity. But I think what I've discovered over the 4 years is that there are two Sarahs, as you probably would admit, and there is a Sarah, and Jane's covered this extensively. I used a lot of your material. There is another side to her, which I think she's hidden very well, which is manipulative, which is greedy, which is dishonest, with no moral boundaries. And I'm afraid that stuff is beginning to come out. And I think the way that she's used charities to enhance her reputation, her social status, and indeed her business activities, I think needed to be exposed. OK,
well, Andrew, thank you so much. That's absolutely fascinating. Just to say here, the statement by Prince Andrew. In discussion with the King, my immediate and wider family, we've concluded the continued accusations about me distract from the work of His Majesty and the royal family. I will therefore no longer use my title or honours which have been conferred upon me. As I have said previously, I vigorously deny the accusations against me. We also contacted him about the interview that we were going to be doing today and received no reply. But yes, I think this story is going to run and run. Andrew Lownie, thank you very much.